Their system is built for this kind of matchup where the opposing team has an advantage in the post, as South Carolina does with their size. And this Elite Eight matchup is underway.
And all eyes will be on the bigs inside. Reagan Beers matching up with Camila Cardoso. Will they send a double team?
They do not here. Cardoso can't finish, and a nice box out from Gardner to secure it for Oregon State.
And that's one thing Oregon State does really well, is get on the defensive glass, limit opponents to one opportunity.
They are 13th in the nation in defensive rebounding percentage. Here's Von Oelhoffen. Gardner looking into Beers. Here's Beers facing up and finishing.
And time taken off the shot clock. That's what Oregon State does. They play a deliberate pace. They share the basketball, use clock, make you defend.
That was something we talked about with Dawn Staley before the game. A point of emphasis for trying to make sure Oregon State does not dictate the pace, as that's deflected out of bounds and stays with South Carolina. Dawn Staley and the Gamecocks seeking their 4th straight Final Four. Scott Rueck in his 14th season now at Oregon State, hoping the Beavers can head back to a 2nd Final Four, last there in 2016. Here's Johnson cutting through, flipping up, missed it, and whacked out of bounds. No, it's going to be saved by Von Oelhoffen, and Oregon State again able to control the glass. Here's Von Oelhoffen all the way in, misses the layup. Had a golden opportunity there, and then Von Oelhoffen falls down in the backcourt. Here's Hall cutting in, flips it home, plus the foul. And I believe that's going to be on Beers. It is, so an early personal on Reagan Beers.
That's a situation where Reagan Beers should have played Ole defense. Just step aside, give Hall the easy layup. And you've seen the first couple possessions. Oregon State plays drop coverage on their on-ball screens. Mid-range pull-ups for the South Carolina guards will be available.
Hall completes the three-point play. Little pressure here full court from South Carolina, and it results in a held ball. Oregon State has the possession arrow. That was something Dawn Staley spoke with us about as well, saying we need to pressure their ball handlers. Here doing so at 94 feet.
South Carolina doesn't press a ton, but it certainly was effective against Oregon State at times in their Notre Dame game.
Von Oelhoffen loses the handle. We're going to have another tie-up, and now it's South Carolina ball. Remember, Oregon State had a ghastly amount of turnovers in their win against Notre Dame. Turns it over 26 times while forcing just 5 turnovers.
Scott Rueck pointed out many of those in the second half, however, were dead ball turnovers, that did not turn into transition buckets.
Here is Kitts back into the starting lineup with Ashlyn Watkins coming off the bench in this game. Cardoso can't muscle it in, and Beers had to be a little careful there with one personal.
But a smart decision to go right at her, see if you can pick up an early second.
Here's Hunter, the freshman point guard, being hawked by Johnson. Marat. Gardner lets it fly, can't hit, and Paopao the weak side rebound.
See how quickly, though, Chloe Kitts closed out on Gardner.
Hunter hit the floor, got right back up in time to guard Paopao. Paopao's 3, back iron, no. Cardoso.
But again, a great look for Paopao. They continue to screen with Reagan Beers as the defender.
And Paopao this year led the nation in three-point shooting percentage, 48%, as Gardner is going to get called for the foul. Looked like it was a clean block initially.
It's hard, too, because the whistle came kind of late.
Oh, that's a clean block.
The wrist is part of the ball.
A.J. Marat is called for the foul. So where was the foul? Gardner was the player who blocked the shot of Kitts. Now, Scott Rueck probably is not going to protest too much because he would rather that foul be called on Marat than Gardner, who has been the second best player for Oregon State, but didn't appear to be in the play.
I'm a little baffled.
The Kids hits both free throws after a dubious call. Here's Beers. Up to Hunter. On the run, Marat. They break the press pretty easily that time.
How quickly, though, South Carolina was able to sprint back.
Both of these teams use their bench as well. South Carolina so deep, and Oregon State fairly deep as well. Here's Gardner. Had it knocked away by Hall, who came with an outstanding dig. Here's Hall. Pau working behind Cardoso. The leaner, back iron, no.
But again, on-ball screen, drop coverage, mid-range, really good look for South Carolina.
So that turnover differential in the Sweet 16 tied for the worst by a winning team in an NCAA tournament game since at least the year 2000. Beers gets fouled by Pau on a nice delivery from Hunter, and Reagan Beers is going to shoot two. First personal on Pau. Beers 62% on the season from the line. Knocks down the first. Hey, for the fourth straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Winner of this game goes to the Final Four, as you see Lily Hansford check in for Marat. Hansford, a dead-eye three-point shooter.
Couple huge threes in the win over Notre Dame.
South Carolina just 1 of 7 from the floor to start this game. Here's Johnson. Cardoso nearly threw it away. Back to Cardoso. Beers has that one foul. Cardoso able to get it in off the window. Difficult angle, and Cardoso still finishes.
And really nice patience, too. She got rid of it quickly the first time, the second time assessed. No double team came, took the shot.
Here's Gardner off on a three. Gardner 0 for 2 from downtown in the early going. Cardoso right back to work. Cardoso kicks to the corner. Johnson can't hit the three.
Cardoso, though, is a very good passer and will find open teammates when they are open on the perimeter.
When she gets a touch, good things happen.
Good things happen. Kind of like Lauren Betts yesterday, right?
Right, exactly. Von Oelhoffen. Over to Gardner.
See Beal just sitting in the lap of Reagan Beers.
Von Oelhoffen trying to make something happen. 5 to shoot. Hansford with 2 to shoot. Hunter launches, and they're going to let South Carolina play on. Would have been a violation otherwise. Here's Pau alone. She got it on a three.
Hall running the left side was also open in transition, looking for the basketball to take the three.
Pau 8 for 15, her first 3 games of the tournament from 3. Johnson off the steal. Kitts can't finish it. Oregon State combines on the rebound and couldn't control it, but Kitts out of bounds as she went to grab it. Timeout on the floor. South Carolina a 10-4 lead in the early going.
6-7 players.
They look like a Rowdy and a Rocket.
They certainly do.
You see Beers, an All-American this season, and leads the nation in field goal percentage. Battling hard here. By the way, they changed that foul that we were confused about, why it was not Gardner who got it, and Marat. It was changed to Gardner. So for Oregon State, 1 personal on Gardner and 1 on Beers in the early going as Beers draws the foul there.
Sanaya Fagan now in the game for South Carolina. Another big body.
Von Oelhoffen with the rainbow mid-range. Von Oelhoffen hit that incredible buzzer-beating 3 against UCLA in mid-February. One of the best finishes we've seen in a game this season, with 5 traded made buckets back and forth in the last 10 seconds of that game, as Fagan says, all right, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take the mid-range pull-up as Beers kind of plays off of her.
Mylasia Fulwiley into the game as well off the bench for South Carolina. Ashlyn Watkins in as well. Here is Gardner.
The South Carolina guards defense so far in this game has been so disruptive.
Hunter dumps it in. Beers can't finish it. Hall may have altered it. Here comes Fulwiley with all kinds of speed. Fulwiley can't reverse it in. Watkins nearly tipped it in. Watkins then has it knocked away, and Johnson able to flag it down. Remember, Ashlyn Watkins has a couple of dunks already this season.
And one of the rare players in women's college basketball who can goaltend.
Here's Fulwiley. Fulwiley hops in and lays it home. The impressive freshman who Dawn Staley has called a generational talent, Mylasia Fulwiley. A 9-2 South Carolina run. Trying to head back to their 4th straight Final Four. Gardner harassed, kicks it out. Von Oelhoffen cups, fades, and gets fouled by Johnson. Free throws here for Von Oelhoffen. First personal on Raven Johnson.
You saw Mylasia Fulwiley just explode on the scene. Her first game of her career against Notre Dame in Paris. Just great quickness, can get to the rim. Has supplemented that so well, especially in the last 4 games with her consistent shooting from deep.
Yeah, her last 4 games, 14 of 25 from three-point range. Has hit at least 4 threes in 3 of those 4. And really hadn't shot it well from 3 this season prior to that, as you can see.
Good time of year to pick up the percentage from deep.
Not afraid of the moment.
No.
Mylasia Fulwiley. Von Oelhoffen hits both free throws. 14-8, South Carolina in front. 2:25 to go in the first quarter of this Elite 8 matchup. Here's Fulwiley, the hesitation and the cup. What a finish from Mylasia Fulwiley. And a foul here is going to go against Fulwiley. That will be the 4th on South Carolina in this first quarter.
And coming off the on-ball screen, she just toys with the defender. What a beautiful one-handed finish.
Whenever she has the ball, you just laser focus because you know you could see something you haven't seen before. On the attack, Bavarova can't finish it. And here comes Fulwiley. Hall. Watkins muscles in, rims out, and Gardner secures the rebound. Boy, the Oregon State guards are falling an inordinate amount of times in this first quarter. We've seen it multiple times with Von Oelhoffen, multiple times with Hunter. Here's Von Oelhoffen trying to shake Fulwiley. Von Oelhoffen gets denied. Watkins and Fulwiley there for the block.
South Carolina just has a different level of length and athleticism, and there have been times where on the weak side of the floor their defense is in help and just can recover so quickly when the ball is passed out. Oregon State has no time to get their perimeter shots off, and then as they drive, they consistently have shot blockers there to meet them.
Kelsey Reese into the game for Oregon State. Beers gets a rest. Here's Hansford, she got it on a 3. Lily Hansford, 45% from 3 this season. Tessa Johnson in for South Carolina. Johnson fades, can't hit, what an effort. Fagan battling on the glass, and the whistle will go against Oregon State.
Beers on the bench getting a little bit of a rest while Cardoso is also out of the game.
Kelsey Reese picks up her first personal. Kennedy Schuler getting some time here now in this first quarter. Inbound to Hall, her mid-range hits backboard, and the rebound lands in the lap of Hansford. Final minute of this first quarter. For as much as South Carolina, we felt the dramatic difference in speed and athleticism. Just a 5-point game. Oregon State firing again. It's Hansford on a three.
Unique left-handed lean on her three-point attempts.
Here's Fagan shoveling out. Hall's three, short, follows it up, and lays it in. Shot clock turned off, so Oregon State can hold for a final shot here. Schuler winding the clock. 7 seconds left. Here's Hansford. Hansford travels.
It was the right idea. Her feet just got a little bit happy before she was able to put the dribble down.
Fourth turnover this quarter for Oregon State. South Carolina has not turned it over once. They have time to operate here. 3 seconds left. Wiley given a world of space. Misses the three, and that'll do it. Love that. We're trying. And for Oregon State, trying to get back to the program's second Final Four. The other was back in 2016, trying to have their first ever win against an AP #1 as Pavlova gets rejected on the drive.
That's so interesting. Scott Rueck, the phrase he used with Holla, we've got to take advantage of our little windows of opportunity. Well, players like Ashlyn Watkins are over at the window closing it quickly. Boom.
Here's Hansford. Giving it up to Reese. Dom Parova has it knocked away by Wiley. Three to shoot. Beers may have to. She does. In and out. And Watkins secures the rebound.
Her third, if that was a three, it was
I think it was a long two, but yes. As Tessa Johnson hits the corner three. Saw her hit a huge three the other day against Indiana, as Indiana was mounting a comeback against South Carolina. South Carolina had led by more than 20 in that game, and Indiana made it a one-possession game late. Parova dumps it down. Beers waits and finishes, plus the foul, and that is going to be number 2 on Raven Johnson.
Just really nice patience and wait the right amount of time to pass the ball to Reagan Beers to go to the ball handler, and then Beers just pauses, gets the defender Johnson in the air, and able to finish.
So Johnson now checks out with that second foul.
This group off the bench has done a really nice job for Oregon State.
Yeah, and they are a team that had great success off the bench this season. Hansford doesn't take initially, now does. Missed it left and short.
It almost looked like South Carolina thought that was a 2-shot foul.
Right. Nobody went to the glass. Oregon State was 6th among power conference teams in bench points. South Carolina led the nation as Reese rejects it out of bounds. So you're actually getting more minutes now, Kelsey Reese playing with Beers rather than Gardner. Reese had started much of this season as Johnson back iron no, and Hansford the rebound. Kennedy Schuler also getting extended minutes here. Parova lobs it in. Beers gets tied up, and the possession arrow belongs to South Carolina.
That was an outstanding post-entry pass, though, to get it up over the long arms of 6'7" Cardoso. Of course, then South Carolina just swarms after the catch.
Parova will check out along with Schuler and Reese. Von Oelhoffen back in along with Hunter and Gardner for Oregon State. Both teams shooting 33% from the floor. Here's Johnson dishing out. Cardoso from 17 looking smooth. A shot she will take with her to the next level. Camila Cardoso projected to be a first-round pick in the WNBA draft. Wow, how about Hansford's stroke?
And how quickly she sets her feet.
Third three of the first half for Lily Hansford. And now a steal from Hansford. Hansford had been 4 for 13 from 3 in the tournament through the first 3 games for Oregon State. First South Carolina turnover. Von Oelhoffen, wow, they're going to get Beers for a screen, and it's going to be her second personal foul.
Gardner pointed and wanted the on-ball screen set, but then didn't wait for Reagan Beers' feet to be set. This is not always the post player's fault. The guard has to wait and let her set her feet.
And Scott Rueck trusting Beers right now on the floor with those 2 fouls. They dump it down to Watkins. Watkins gets the foul, plus the bucket, and now Gardner picks up her second.
The 2 most important pieces for Oregon State both now have 2 fouls. Ashlyn Watkins is so talented.
You're so often in these games, Rebecca, we see foul trouble play a massive role, as that's going to be a foul on Cardoso going over the back of Beers. For Cardoso, that will just be her first. We were talking with Dawn Staley about Cardoso and her performance the other day, and she said she felt like Cardoso tapped into something more dominant, that there was a different level of assertion from Cardoso in that win against Indiana, where it felt like every time she touched the ball, it turned into a layup. She was 10 for 12 from the floor.
She also talked about how she had great balance, wasn't playing it all off of her back foot, looking to attack.
25-19, South Carolina. Gardner with space, connects on a 3. Oregon State 4 for 8 from downtown in this first half. That has been what has kept them tight with South Carolina. Pow can't lay it in. Watkins on the putback. Ashlyn Watkins was not happy with how passive she was in the Sweet 16. Has been more assertive thus far here in this Elite 8, Holly.
She actually went to Dawn Staley after their last game and said, I don't feel like I was aggressive enough. She's a player that has gotten more and more playing time as the season's gone on, but she needed to look for her shot more, and she promised Dawn Staley she'd do it today. And
she has thus far, coming in off the bench after she had been starting. Pow, no. Rebound, Gardner. Beers on the bench now with her 2 fouls. Gardner stays on the floor with her 2. Reese back in for Oregon State, and another 10-second violation from Oregon State. They had 2 in the 4th quarter the other day against Notre Dame.
And that time there wasn't pressure. It's one thing when there's pressure on the ball handler. There wasn't there.
That's just a mistake from the freshman point guard, Donovan Hunter, who's been so good the second half of this season. Here's Kitts. Chloe Kitts swooping in, can't finish it. That goes off the leg of Hansford and stays with South Carolina.
Ashlyn Watkins has her hands in almost every possession on both ends of the floor so far in this one.
Yeah, terrific activity from Watkins. Hall run off the 3-point line, shovels underneath. Kitts travels, and South Carolina turns it over. Dawn Staley has been the coach of South Carolina for 7 of the school's 8 Elite 8 appearances. Trying to get to a 4th straight Final Four. In the corner, Von Oelhoffen misses the 3. Rebound taken by Pow, pushing pace for South Carolina. Pow wheels it back. Watkins can't handle it. Hall ends up with it. Cardoso getting ready to check back in. Pow around and off. And a whistle is going to go against Gardner, and that will be her 3rd. Like you could have played on.
I agree, but you can understand why if the official sees the hook,
Yes.
they're going to call it.
And so a costly third foul on Gardner in a game that's been called very tightly in this first half. So Gardner goes to the bench. South Carolina dominating in the paint, a 20-2 edge. Here's Hansford, not that time. Good contest from Cardoso. For Wiley, so dangerous in transition. Gets it back, puts it up and in. Timeout, Oregon State. The South Carolina lead is now 9. 9-point lead with Reagan Beers coming back into the game with 2 fouls. Gardner on the bench with 3, and Scott Rueck must think, hey, I can't risk 4 minutes and 20 seconds without either of them on the floor here. Hunter gets it across. Von Oelhoffen finds Parova underneath. Beers waits and finishes. Good job breaking the press there. And it turns into an easy lay.
If she has her balance, she is going to be able to score through most.
And now Hunter trying to come up with a steal and does. Hunter bounces and Parova lays it in. Good response out of the timeout from the Beavers.
This is a young Oregon State team for the most part, but they are tough.
At 3, won't go. Rebound loose on the floor, and it's going to be held ball. Oregon State has the possession arrow.
One of the hallmarks of Oregon State on the offensive end is their willingness and ability to pass the basketball, not just in the quarter court, but here you see it in transition. Beautiful right-handed drop pass to Beers.
Parova dumps it back at Oregon State, 19th in the country in assists per game this season.
Just impressive considering how slow their pace is.
Right. Parova thought about it. Beers battling underneath with Kitts. Parova will drive it, had it swatted, gets it back. Von Oelhoffen's 3, short. Beers the offensive rebound, missed the layup, gets it back again and gets fouled. The NCAA Men's Basketball Championship Final Four continues Saturday, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific on TBS. For more information, go to ncaa.com.
Multiple times in this game, didn't it feel like South Carolina was just going to run away with it? Sometimes, in some ways, literally, they were just going to get steals and get out in transition and just continue to score. Oregon State's had a really nice response to that every time.
They have, and thus at the line with it now a 5-point game. Holly?
Well, Oregon State had a really challenging year last year, just 4 conference wins. And the team said, you know, in the offseason, nobody decided to transfer, get in the portal. They instead decided to go play pickup together at Dixon Rec Center. The team fell back in love with the game, got over the trauma of last season, and that love and connection is starting to show here today why they had the biggest turnaround in women's basketball of 13-plus wins in over a decade.
Oregon State in the zone defense trying to protect their player in foul trouble.
Oh, what a job. Hall comes flying in and gets fouled on the putback. It's Von Oelhoffen who's whistled for the personal, just her first, and Bree Hall will shoot 2.
Top right of your screen, Bree Hall just comes out of nowhere. Outstanding job, and that'll be there for the guards as Oregon State, if they stay in this zone defense, just attacking from the perimeter.
Here's one of the amazing things about South Carolina, Rebecca. You think about how many of their games we've done throughout the season, and you can think of winning moments from every single player who they play. And throughout the season, Dawn Staley really instills the entire team with confidence so that she can use all 9 players of her rotation in any spot.
They've all had their moments to shine, and they've all stepped up to it when they've gotten those moments.
They have 9 players who average 15 or more minutes. They have 7 players who average at least 8 points per game. 7 different players have led their team in scoring. That's just not the norm for a college basketball team, especially one that has as much success as South Carolina does. Here's Beers out of the double. Hunter attacks the closeout, pull up, off, and Watkins again so athletic to knock it away, and it last hits Hunter. Going to be South Carolina ball.
Watkins challenged the shot and then got in and knocked it away. And to go back to Holly talking about Oregon State, they had 13 total wins on the year ago. They were picked 10th in the Pac-12 conference preseason this year.
And here they are in the Elite 8. Johnson short on that one. It will tilt out of bounds. Oregon State's turnaround has been incredible. Scott Rueck done a great job in his 14 seasons with the Beavers. Third largest improvement from any team last season, already 14 more wins. Hansford catch blocked by Johnson. Here's Johnson running the floor, cutting inside, can't finish, follows it up. Pow bounces, sneaky feed to Fagan. Watkins on the interior, lays it in. Again, Ashlyn Watkins. Lead is back to 8 for South Carolina.
16 second chance points off of a bunch of rebounds for South Carolina on the offensive end.
Parova gives it up. Van Oelhoffen, guarded by Hall, putting it on the deck. What a pass. Hunter connects on the 3. Gorgeous delivery from Van Oelhoffen.
Oregon State offensively has outstanding spacing. The guards know when they drive where their out passes are to their shooters.
Here's Johnson. Johnson will drive it. Flings it out. Hall thought about the 3. Dumps it underneath. Fagan shovels. Johnson with 3 to shoot. And a whistle on Beers is going to be her 3rd. So Reagan Beers gets tied up with Fagan with under a minute to go in this second quarter. And it's Beers who picks up her 3rd personal, and her father understandably frustrated.
What am I not seeing, Ryan?
I don't understand. Lisa Mattingly, who officiated 18 Final Fours, is with us. I mean, Lisa, is there enough there to call a foul on Beers?
It looks like the initial contact is by Fagan, I believe. There. Let me see. I can.
Yeah.
Unless Beers on that backside is pulling with the, AKA like the Gardner foul earlier with the hook, I can't see that from the view that I have.
That's a huge unless. That absolutely looked to me like Fagan was the one who created that contact, boxing out as you're taught to do, pushing backwards, and Beers gets called for the foul. Here, boxing out, which is what you're supposed to do.
Unless Beers is wrapping with that right arm, and that's what actually takes Fagan to the ground. But it looks like
she's strong. I don't know that she's that strong, right?
It looks like Fagan initiated the contact. If we could bring Lisa back in for a moment. Lisa, on calls like this, we've had a couple where it feels like there's been maybe a little contact initiated from both players. Does that make you, as an official, any more likely to just not blow the whistle?
Well, with some of the things that can escalate the way they do, with little to no contact with some of these players, we get a little antsy sometimes, and we put some fouls on plays that maybe aren't as big or don't show up as much. But when we see a hook, when we see a hold like that, it really gets our antenna up, and a lot of times we put a whistle on that play.
Understood. Thank you, Lisa. We appreciate the insight. Lisa Mattingly with us throughout all of our broadcasts here as we march to the national championship. So, I mean, just incredibly debilitating foul trouble for Oregon State. Beers with 3, Gardner with 3. Parova kicks it out. Hunter again. Huge threes here from Donovan Hunter to keep Oregon State close despite the foul trouble. About a 4-second difference, game and shot clock. Here's Fulwiley. Fulwiley kicks it out. Hall on a 3. No. Watkins again on the interior. Couldn't finish it. But Watkins has just been incredible.
She's relentless.
And now Hunter in trouble with the seconds fading here. Van Oelhoffen gets it off, and that will do it for the first half. South Carolina 35-0, leading Oregon State by 4 at the half. South Carolina trying to keep their undefeated season going. They are 35-0 as Beers and Gardner start the second half, both with 3 fouls. Here's Cardoso.
Oregon State, again, because of the foul trouble, starts this half in his zone.
Cardoso flips it in over Beers.
Keep going at it. You've got to go at the players with foul trouble. I'm sure that was Dawn Staley's message at the half. Let's establish Camilla inside early.
Von Oelhoffen. Here's Beers working on Cardoso. Beers and a whistle on Cardoso. And Cardoso very confused by the call as well.
She's standing straight up. A 6'7" player standing straight up. As long as your arms don't come down and you're not moving your hips. And Beers is the one who threw her arm out. To me, that should be a play on.
And we've seen this all game, that any little contact in the post is being called a foul. And Cardoso obviously still trying to get some clarification there. Beers. It's both free throws. A 39-35 game. That is number 2 on Cardoso. South Carolina trying to become the first undefeated champion since UConn in 2016, and that shot will not count, a whistle before. Let's look at that foul again on Cardoso and bring in Lisa Mattingly, who officiated 18 Final Fours. What do you think here, Lisa?
This looks like good principle of verticality to me by the defender. I think this is just a play on.
Yeah. It does feel like today there's been a lot of that. Meanwhile, Gardner. Okay, they're going to call the foul on Donovan Hunter rather than Gardner on the other end. Thank you, Lisa.
South Carolina can get some open looks here because doubles are coming against the zone, or just keep feeding the beast inside. Camilla Cardoso can be unstoppable. But if the double comes, she's an outstanding passer, finding her open three-point shooters.
And you can see Beers trying to be so careful, which, you know, you're going to have a tough enough time defending Cardoso with all of your faculties.
Right. With 0 fouls.
Yeah. Here's Von Oelhoffen. Von Oelhoffen, nice footwork and shovels it in. Beautiful move there from Talia Von Oelhoffen. 41-37, South Carolina in front. Here's Pow Pow straight on, in and out on a 3. Pow Pow leading the nation, just under 48% from deep this season. 1 of 5 so far today. Here's Beers. Von Oelhoffen will pull and hit. It is a 2-point game. Had several moments where it felt like South Carolina was going to run away and hide, and every time Oregon State has had an answer as the Gamecocks turn it over.
You see just the screen from Reagan Beers. She is an outstanding screener. Cardoso and drop coverage, so the mid-range pull-up there.
Here's Von Oelhoffen. Off to Beers. Beers bounces underneath, and it is not handled by Gardner as Oregon State turns it over.
Important when you're in a zone like Oregon State is, trying to contain, that you either make shots what they've done, or if you turn the ball over, it's a dead ball turnover, because you can get back and set up.
8 turnovers for Oregon State. South Carolina has not done a ton with them thus far. Here's Kitts against that zone, breaks it, then has it taken away by Beers. Gardner in the corner, short on a 3. Nice contest from Chloe Kitts. 3 minutes into this third quarter. A trip to the Final Four on the line. Hall in and out on a 3. South Carolina, number 1 in the nation in three-point shooting percentage. Shoot it at 40%, but today they have struggled, missing their last 9.
Camilla Cardoso has not struggled when she's touched the ball in the post. Don't go away from that.
Von Oelhoffen looking for an angle. Nice work by Cardoso, getting around Beers, then running the floor and finishing. Kamilla Cardoso getting it done on both ends.
Really good job by the big girl, too, after she helps create the turnover to just sprint the floor.
Cardoso has the last 6 South Carolina points. Here's Beers, great position and a nice find from Von Oelhoffen.
But here, be deliberate. Get Cardoso eventually into the low block and get her a touch. Now she'll dive.
Hits, mid-range, no. Rebound Gardner. And again, no touch for Cardoso there. 10 rebounds for Gardner. She's done it in limited minutes because of her foul trouble. Here's Von Oelhoffen into the corner. And a whistle here. It's going to go on who? That's going to be on Cardoso, and it will be her third. Let's see, Rebecca.
Reagan Beers trying to post up. It's the right hand right there. The hook on the right hand. Kamilla's left side was fine. She was moving her feet fine, but you see the right arm? The hook right there is why she gets the foul called. Right there, you see it.
So Cardoso picks up her third, has to go to the bench. Marat can't lay it in. Nice contest from Pau Pau. Can South Carolina also take advantage of being a little small with Beers on the floor? Here's Pau Pau, her three won't go. Knocked out of bounds. It'll stay here with South Carolina.
South Carolina, as you mentioned, such a good three-point shooting team on the season, but they're struggling from deep today. 2 of 15, so Oregon State can just continue to stay in the zone. They've moved well throughout it, and it's certainly going to help their players who have foul troubles. Beers coming out right now.
Yeah, Beers will come out, Reese in, Marat out, and Parova in for Oregon State. Tight game here between the Beavers and the Gamecocks. Here's Watkins. Johnson into the corner. That three is good. Raven Johnson delivering for South Carolina. South Carolina had missed 10 straight threes before that make. Von Oelhoffen into the corner. Reese drives, kicks, Parova's three, won't go. Reese trying to get after it, does. Keeps it alive. Parova meets Watkins and thought better of it. Another chance here for Oregon State. Beers on the bench for the moment. There's Von Oelhoffen. Von Oelhoffen can't lay it in. And then it's poked away by Reese. Von Oelhoffen scoops it off. And Watkins comes away with it for South Carolina. Here is Johnson.
Good decision.
Under 4 minutes to go in the third quarter of this Elite Eight matchup. Here's Kitts, deep catch, the turn, and a rejection. Reese on the rejection, it'll stay here. 8 on the shot clock for South Carolina. Watch it on ESPN starting at 7 Eastern tomorrow.
If only there was some star power in the games tomorrow.
In the corner, Johnson rings in a three, and a little regression to the mean now for South Carolina, the best three-point shooting team in the nation, who was cold, starting to get hot as we send things over to Holly.
Well, Scott Rueck in the huddle just now talked about giving up corner threes. He said, we cannot give up corner threes. You've got to get out to those. Sure enough, they break the huddle, come out, give up another corner three. It was a huge point of emphasis in that last huddle. He knows how good South Carolina is from three. He tried to get his team to recognize that a little quicker.
Well, and Holly, that's been one of the most impressive things about South Carolina this season. Not only did they lose all 5 starters from last year, they've played a completely different style and yet had the same results. An undefeated season here in the Elite Eight.
One of the things that's remained consistent is their elite offensive rebounding. It's had a huge impact on this game today. How about the freshman?
Tessa Johnson has had some big buckets throughout this season. Some huge ones here today. An 8-0 South Carolina run, and they have their largest lead. It's 10. And a steal from guess who? Watkins. Pow Pow, eyes up, finds Fagan, who lays it in. A 10-0 South Carolina run. And now Johnson nearly comes up with a steal, and a whistle underneath against Fagan will keep things here.
Feels like there's just been a different level of energy from South Carolina since they came out of that timeout. Tessa Johnson, just a beautiful drive inside, and then Te-Hina Paopao with the vision to deliver it beautifully to Fagan.
A 12-point South Carolina lead. They're on a 10-0 run. Barova's jumper rims off. Watkins skies for the rebound. Here comes Paopao again. South Carolina pushing the pace a little bit more. Paopao flings it out. And now Dawn Staley says, all right, calm things down.
Oregon State back in the man-to-man. That's what happens when your opponent hits a couple of threes.
There's Fagan. Out to Johnson. 5 to shoot. Johnson pedals through, gets denied by Beers. And 3.5 on the shot clock for South Carolina.
This block looks a lot like Beers' block on Hannah Hidalgo from the Sweet 16 matchup.
Fagan off the miss from Watkins, flips it in.
The story of this game has been South Carolina on the offensive glass. Their dominance when it comes to second chance points.
And Oregon State needs a timeout. A 26-4 advantage and second chance advantage as we send things over to Holly.
Well, the last opponent's coach, Terry Morin, said South Carolina doesn't have 5 starters. They have 10 starters. And this run has been by mostly bench players. That's what's made South Carolina hard all season. And what I love about what Dawn Staley's done, their theme all year is love. Don't be selfish. It could be a different player every night. It could be a bench player every night. They are truly an unselfish team, and it's whoever is rolling, that's who they go with, and the bench is rolling right now.
And they are all so capable at any moment of being the player to make that key winning play. Tessa Johnson, Raven Johnson with huge threes during this run, as Watkins, who's had a big afternoon, lays it in.
Perfectly just timed cut to the basket. And when she catches it there, she's going to finish it, because Gardner can still only do so much because of her foul trouble.
South Carolina with 22 more field goal attempts than Oregon State. And Oregon State shooting under 38% from the floor as Beers gets fouled by Fagan. And Fagan mystified, as at least first look, it looked like she got all ball. Now Dawn Staley is feeling a lot of the frustration in this half, unless did Fagan get wrist instead of ball? Let's see. Yeah, got arm.
The thing that's so remarkable with South Carolina, Ryan, and we've talked throughout the course of the tournament, that they're the most talented team, and for them to be beat, they have to have an off shooting day, right? So today, not their best shooting day, 38%. They've missed 13 threes, but they are so incredible on the offensive glass that they can negate all of that by having so many more possessions than their opponent. And it's what we've come to accustomed to with South Carolina basketball over the course of the last decade.
They have 18 offensive rebounds today. And this is against one of the better defensive rebounding teams in the country.
Yes.
Oregon State entered this game 13th in defensive rebounding percentage in the nation. Beers nearly had it taken away. Gets it ahead. Morant to Gardner. Gardner misses the layup, and Fagan is called for another foul. And that is going to be her 4th.
I don't understand it.
I don't see anything there.
Me neither. A little on the wrist, I suppose.
Maybe, but she looked like verticality went straight up and down.
My goal every game is to not talk at all about the officiating, so I hate when I'm forced to.
And in the first half, it was a lot of questionable fouls on Gardner and Beers.
Yes.
In this quarter, it's been on Fagan and Cardoso.
Still picking on the big girls, though, Ryan.
Fulwiley scoops it up, can't finish it, but a foul, and Mylasia Fulwiley will go to the line to shoot two. Donovan Hunter picks up her second. Fulwiley hits the first. Fulwiley misses the second, and that is how the third quarter will end. As South Carolina went on a 12-0 run after Cardoso picked up her third and went to the bench. She's back in now to begin the fourth, and a 12-point South Carolina lead. The Gamecocks 35-0, trying to go to the Final Four for a fourth straight season. Here's Gardner, her three, no.
The amount of screens that Oregon State just set, and the way they made the defense run around them and challenge to get that one look, that's a typical Scott Rueck kind of an offensive set.
Oregon State 0 for 4 from 3 in this second half. You heard Dawn Staley talk about that with Holly after they had hit 6 threes in the first half, and that's really what had kept them in the game. Watkins short on the jumper, and it's out of bounds to the Beavers. Well, NC State, Zaya James coming off her huge performance the other night against Stanford, getting ready to go at 25 in the second half. NC State against top seed Texas. That's up next here on ABC.
And their backcourt is humming and all playing well. NC State is a tough team to beat.
And a team that was unranked to begin this season, as Hunter gets blocked from behind by Fulwiley. Outstanding recovery from Fulwiley. Johnson bounces off of Watkins. Gives to Fulwiley. Fulwiley's jumper won't go.
Riven Johnson with only 3 points on the day, but she's had an outstanding floor game. 6 assists, 1 turnover.
Beers, mid-range? No. Gardner skies in for the offensive rebound. Another chance here for Oregon State. Von Olhoff at a deep three is short.
Not only did Oregon State not make a three in the third quarter, they only attempted 3.
And a foul here going to go against Donovan Hunter.
Nice to have this kind of quickness and ups. Gets beat, and Fulwiley able to come from the back and block the shot anyway.
Holly?
Well, to see her play this kind of defense is really encouraging. Mylasia Fulwiley actually kind of had to sit down, only played 3 minutes in a game earlier this year. And Dawn Staley said it was a really tough conversation. We had to talk about making mistakes on defense. You know, she even called her mom and said, listen, she's got to get this message. And to have Coach Staley sit down a player of her caliber, hold her accountable in that moment, Mylasia handled it great. She's come back and been intentional on defense, and that is holding your players to a high standard, and it's paid off for Dawn Staley.
Yeah, that was the UNC game. What a pass from Hunter into Beers. Thank you, Holly, as Beers finishes.
The most remarkable part about that was it was a close game.
Yeah.
It was a close game with North Carolina. She still sat a player when it could have impacted the outcome of the game.
Knew it was important to teach that lesson. And a foul here is going to go against Hall. South Carolina, 35-0, trying to become the first undefeated champion since UConn back in 2016, and trying to head to a fourth consecutive Final Four. Dawn Staley understandably frustrated with the officiating. Her team has gotten a tough whistle in this second half. Hansford connects on a three. Oregon State's first three of the second half and the fourth of the day for Lily Hansford. And again, when it felt like South Carolina was going to run away and hide, now a 7-point game.
You need a bucket. You should get Camila Cardoso a touch.
Watkins wanted Hall to shoot, I believe. Instead, she drives it here and banks it in. What a big take from Bree Hall.
And a nice 5 from Watkins after she'd previously shown some frustration that she hadn't shot.
Bree said, don't worry, I'm gonna shoot, just give me a minute. Here's Von Oelhoffen circling around. Gardner will fire and hit. Gardner with her second three of the day. 6-point game. Cardoso the deep catch and a foul on Beers as Camila Cardoso will shoot 2. That's going to be Beers' fourth.
Bree Hall so dangerous from out on the perimeter, so you have to attack on the closeout, and then there just does a great job insisting her way to the rim. Gardner, how about that? Oregon State finding some life here from deep.
Beers, despite the limited minutes, still with 16 points, and 5 of 9 shooting. Cardoso misses the first free throw. It's at 67.5% this season. And we have a lane violation that will take away the made free throw.
Who is it on?
Who? I think they called it on Watkins. 16 assists on 18 made field goals for Oregon State. Here's Von Oelhoffen giving it up. Gardner gets it to Beers. Beers muscling in. 5 to shoot. Reverses it, but it won't count. As Oregon State turns it over. Let's go back to Lisa Mattingly. Lisa, the lane violation here, what did they say?
The lane violation here, you all, is on number 25, Raven Johnson. A player that's not on the lane cannot go in until the ball hits the rim, unlike the players on the lane who could go on the release.
There you go. Thank you very much, Lisa. So it was Johnson, not Watkins, who was called for it, as Cardoso gets back for a third time.
Usually when you see that called, it's when the player is trying to sprint in to get the offensive board and not just kind of wandering in.
Right. Here's Pau Pau, the runner is good. Tapina Pau Pau with a big bucket and more second chance points for South Carolina. Here's Hunter turning, taking, and hitting. A fun back and forth here now. With under 5 minutes to go in this fourth quarter, and South Carolina leading by 6. Pau Pau backs it out, looking for Cardoso. Instead, it's Watkins. Pau Pau will take, can't hit. Watkins, another O-board. Johnson, no. Long rebound. How did Watkins get there? My goodness. But she saves it to Oregon State. And now an opportunity for Hunter.
That was
unbelievable.
Incredible
that Watkins got there. Here's Hunter. Gets the angle on Pau Pau and lays it in. And it's a 4-point game. 3:45 to go. South Carolina 35-0, and Dawn Staley wants a timeout.
To not necessarily be that way because South Carolina has had so much dominant depth this year.
4-point lead for the Gamecocks out of the timeout. Cardoso gets a touch. Johnson drives, floats, finishes, plus the foul. And a chance for three for Tessa Johnson.
Get the touch for Cardoso. Let her decide if she wants to go to work or pass it back out. She passes it back out, and what a take by Johnson.
How about Tessa Johnson? Averages under 6 points per game this season, has 11 today, and has had huge baskets in this second half. 7-point South Carolina lead. Oregon State has hit its last 5 shots. Gardner, no. And Watkins the rebound, her 10th. A reminder, Texas NC State coming up next on ABC tomorrow. Iowa LSU at 7 Eastern on ESPN, followed by USC UConn at 9. Here's Hall. Hall gets denied by Beers, who then directs it away, and Hunter comes up with it. An opportunity here for Oregon State with 2:45 to go in the fourth. Von Oelhoffen drives, stops, dishes, Hansford, short on a three. Was online, just a little short.
Great look for Oregon State.
Now Dawn Staley slowing things down, wants her team to run clock. She's pushing Tessa Johnson into the corner.
She wants a clear out for Cardoso.
Yes, exactly. Here's Cardoso, couldn't finish it. Beers got a piece of it. Donovan up the floor for Oregon State. Donovan, nice little juke, dumps it back. Under 2 minutes to go. Gardner trying to work Watkins. Wow, Watkins said, And a tie-up here, possession arrow, South Carolina.
Ashlyn Watkins had that incredible block at the end of the game against Indiana.
Watkins indeed.
And this crowd is certainly appreciating what she's bringing on the defensive end. Beautiful block.
4 blocks for Ashlyn Watkins, the sophomore who is from Columbia, South Carolina. 1:35 to go in this fourth. Johnson will fire. Missed everything out of bounds, and it's Oregon State ball. Hey, for the 4th straight year, every NCAA Women's Championship game is on the networks of ESPN. For more information, go to ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. Here's Hunter. Hunter to the corner, good look. Von Oelhoffen can't hit, and that may have been Oregon State's last best chance. Coming on a minute to go in this fourth, it's South Carolina leading by 7. Raven Johnson, the leaner, short. Cardoso, the rebound. The putback won't go, and it's out of bounds to Oregon State with 47 seconds left.
South Carolina has not scored the last 2 possessions, but they have had outstanding clock management, waited for the shot clock to go down before they attacked or took their shot.
Timeout taken. 47 seconds to go. Oregon State
On the floor,
ball.
we have out of bounds.
Position offense here, and then save the advance timeout for later.
And Dawn Staley going to have South Carolina pressure full court here. And Von Oelhoffen steps on the baseline, and Oregon State turns it over.
These are confusing baselines.
Let's see. She moved her feet, and it's not off a make. Von Oelhoffen moving her feet there, and it is not off a made bucket, so she cannot run the baseline like that on an
you have to
inbound.
have a pivot foot, just like you're on the floor.
So just a massive turnover from Oregon State. Raven Johnson will be fouled by Hunter. That is the 4th team foul on Oregon State. So they will have to give one more before they put South Carolina at the line. Number 4 on Hunter. And yeah, Scott Rueck is going to get Hunter out of the game and put in Shulin to give a foul. He's also going to put Marat in the game for Gardner. And will he take out Beers as well? Yeah.
How deliberately, intentionally, deliberately he did it too, to kind of, he's communicating with his players as his assistants are sending the bench players in to the game.
Johnson gets it into Tessa Johnson, who is fouled by Hansford. Hey, still to come here on ABC today, Madison Booker, the first freshman to win Big 12 Player of the Year. 1 seed Texas facing 3 seed NC State, a chance to go to the Final Four. Incredible what Texas has done despite the injury to Rory Harmon. Tessa Johnson, 1 of 1 today, now 2 of 2 from the line. Johnson hits both. The lead is 9. Hunter quickly up the floor. The pitch back to Hansford. She doesn't hit. Rebound Watkins. Hall dashes ahead and is fouled by Hansford with 32 seconds remaining in this 4th.
I'm impressed that Oregon State knew exactly what to run without using a timeout there.
And they got another great look. Hansford's had a couple great looks here.
It was because of the screen set by Beers.
Hall to the line. When you think about Oregon State, Rebecca, is obviously looks like it's going to be the final game of their season. So much for them to be proud of. 14 more wins than last year. Back in the Elite 8 as Scott Rueck will take a timeout. And such a young team. They don't have a scene on the faces of South Carolina. Hunter will inbound for Oregon State, gets it into Beers. Good look for Hansford, in and out on a 3. Watkins another rebound. And a whistle with 26 seconds remaining as Watkins picks up her 14th board. Another well-run play out of the timeout, and another great look. Reminds us of the Taurasi play.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot of times in the WNBA. Sandy Brondello special.
Hey, don't forget, tomorrow, 7 Eastern, on ESPN, LSU, Iowa, the rematch. Here from Albany, 7 Eastern on ESPN. And then following that game from Portland on ESPN, it'll be UConn and USC. Yeah, they're jumping for joy about tomorrow's slate.
You and me too.
Yeah, can't wait. It's just been, and all of you know who have watched throughout, it's been a remarkable tournament at this time where women's basketball is booming. The product continues to deliver and take it to even new heights.
There have been a lot more eyeballs this season, and the players and teams have certainly lived up to any expectations.
And a whistle going to go against Von Oelhoffen. Now, here is a little nuanced rule that you and I talk about.
Yes.
And is worth bringing up at this moment. Is it going to play a critical role here? Probably not, because South Carolina is leading by 10. But in the college game, you can foul before the ball is inbounded as long as you are fouling a player who is involved in the play. And we both feel like teams probably don't utilize that enough in situations where they don't want time to come off the clock and they have to foul.
100%. And I understand that teams and coaches want to maybe go for the steal initially, but if you know you have to foul, try to foul the player before the ball comes in, and like you said, 0 time off the clock.
Especially when you can, and Tessa Johnson isn't this player, but when you can, in some instances, foul someone you'd want to put at the line as well. Johnson, clutch, has hit all of her free throws. Shulin up the floor, will dance in, can't finish, and now Oregon State's going to back off. For the 4th straight season, South Carolina is headed to the final.